showed. We start off with this base pose here, and it actually gets constructed by an SCV, so we try and get back to this pose from its building pose. And again, it takes a while to deconstruct it, trying to figure out what parts work with it, and then just, you know, try to have some fun to it, give it some life, personality, make it larger than life. More Thor, and continuing that theme, we have the big gun that Sammy talked about. And again, it's another opportunity we can just to add more dynamics to the game. Just make it cool for the fans, more fun. You see all the details where his feet spread apart to kind of base himself before he starts shooting this massive barrage. And some of this detail you might not notice all the time you're playing in the middle of, you know, frantic battles, but over time you're going to notice little things popping out, and just notice all the detail we do put into the game. We got like the Havoc on the shelves right now bouncing on the ground. That's not there, but another method we have for giving personality to units is the portraits. Here's the Protoss Probe, and you already saw the SCV one earlier. And this is another way for us to give depth and character to these units. Sometimes we have vehicles in the game, and it's hard to really convey a lot of personality if it's just like a tank. But this gives us a chance to look at the pilot or more of the facial features of that unit. And again, just more fun, more dynamic, more animation, and just more cool in general. And then with the effects, we kind of have the same mantras. It's you know, be creative with it, you know, lots of color, but also we want to make sure that it doesn't interfere with gameplay at all. So we make sure the explosions are really tight. They're over fast. They don't get in the way. You can select units still. And then also we experiment quite a bit, like Sammy said. We iterate constantly on these things, especially with effects. You don't know what you want sometimes until you just keep messing with the numbers, trying different things out over and over again. So we have a few examples here. Here's like a typical battle scene. Just kind of showing off a lot of action, but it's still easy to read. It's the explosions are concise, they're tight, you can see what's going on. It doesn't get overwhelming with all the effects. And same here, we have the lasers on the new Tempest. This is back when it was gold. Lots of explosions again, dynamic lights going on, all these great shaders we have, but it's still easy to tell what's going on and play the game. And that's the biggest thing. We don't want to interfere with the gameplay. Here's an example of a Colossus beam. We have these cool ribbon emitters we have, and it just keeps funneling energy down it. But with a couple different tweaks, we can quickly, with our tool set, that might not work. Anyway, this just shows different examples of how we can quickly modify something